It's gonna start early, you're gonna start it early?
The clock's slow.
Oh,
Think so too.
I. Do we have anybody,
No.
good evening, my name is Jeff Heller and I am the Chair of the Solid Waste Disposal and Recycling Advisory Committee. Welcome to October 21st, 25 meeting. In accordance with the open meeting law at the beginning of the meeting, I must disclose to attendees whether the meeting is being recorded. The meeting is being broadcast via Zoom and is being recorded for publication, later viewing, and administrative purposes. After notifying the chair, any person may make a video or audio recording of the meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium, subject to reasonable requirements of the chair as to the number, placement, and operation of equipment used, so as not to interfere with the conduct of the meeting. Please let me know now so that I can make that announcement as well. Next, any member of the committee who is participating remotely must be disclosed and recorded in the minutes of the committee. There are no members presently remote. As we have one or more members participating remotely, the votes must be taken by roll call and recorded as such in the minutes. So if no one shows up online, then we can just focus here. Okay. So the first order of business is the approving the minutes of previous meeting. Anyone have any?
I understand. Did you see them?
Yeah, I read them. You emailed them out. I didn't have any questions.
Really, I caught one. I caught one that got by you, David. I think it misspelled Worcester. Yeah, here it is also. Page 2, bottom paragraph. I don't think there's an H. Is that the city of Worcester?
No, you're right.
Worcester.
What's the
number?
So, a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Okay,
Just updates. I'll try and be brief here. We put into effect the new rates that you approved and went to the select board, was approved by the select board. And they went into effect October 1st. That's residential mattresses going from 20 to 25 per unit, commercial mattresses 40, 50 per unit, truck tires going from 15 to 21. Recycling costs are in a downward trend. Pretty much everything that we collect at the drop walls. So cardboard, which is traditionally our strongest, most consistent commodity, we are currently getting in revenue $33.18 per ton. That's down $10 from June 2025. Paper has gone from $1.47 per ton revenue in June to a cost of $4.87. Commingled recycling costs are now $83.89 per ton. That's right. Those costs are $31.38 worse than June. So pretty much all of those commodities are in a downward trend. For commingled and single stream recycling, these are some of the highest costs we've seen in about the last 2 years, so. I know some of that is that virgin, petroleum plastic products are very cheap right now, so there's not a lot of markets for it. You know, glass is very difficult and the costs on glass are causing commingled costs to rise. And for cardboard, there's a new restriction in China, restrictions on import of fiber for cardboard production, so it's not clear how well enforced that will be, so cardboard is seeing a downward trend and it could be bad for a few months, but it may actually rebound positively because our loads are pretty clean, so hopefully, you know, US markets are putting out a clean, you know, higher quality cardboard fiber, so we'll have to wait and see, but that's, you know, those are not, that's not an ideal, you know, kind of all things trending downward at once. The last time that the RTS or the town of Needham saw a rebate check for our household recyclings as a whole was March. So it's been since March since we've seen any kind of rebate. Service delivery study, we had a change order that was for not only the duration of the contact, but also for the pricing. That was just approved, and we have a phone meeting scheduled tomorrow with the consultant to kind of realign the direction and the you know, goals of the service delivery study. And we still, DPW has to come up with a date that will present a draft to the select board and to you all at a public meeting. The new employee trailer is up and occupied. We are still waiting on building maintenance to weatherproof some of the plumbing installed on that project. Very importantly, this Saturday is Household Hazardous Waste Day from 8 AM to 12 noon at DPW. It's a pretty strict time window. Anyone after 12 noon won't be accepted. You know, typically we want, you know, successful event for us should be about 220 to 240, 250 cars. A lot of that just depends on publicity, and sometimes it even depends on the weather, so hopefully the weather is decent.
This is down on Dedham Ave.
Dedham Ave, you see coming through the DeFazio parking
Yeah,
lot, you
yeah.
queue up, and it's pretty quick, even in the morning when we have a line of 15, 20 cars, they'll have you out of there in probably about 10, 15 minutes, so it goes quickly. The paper shredding event we did on October 11th, a 4-hour event, we had 126 households. That's a record for us, previous record was 80.
Wow.
All the paper collected, all the shredded paper is captured for recycling, whereas if that shredded paper were just introduced to the drop-off containers, a lot of it gets lost or drifts away or becomes trash or litter, so those are desired by the DEP, supported by the DEP, and we get those RDP grant fund points when we hold events or multiple events.
Does the shredding happen on site?
Yep, and it goes into a box truck, so they have an industrial shredder. We take up to 5 boxes per household. They go into the industrial shredder and it captures everything. And when you see it drop.
Is it like in a tube, like it goes into the box, or is it?
It comes in off the side. I don't know, you know what, it's been a couple of years since I staffed one of those because they're on Saturdays and I do the Monday to Friday schedule now, but. I remember it's right attached to the truck, so it goes directly into the box truck. It's secured, it's locked. They verify everything. They have to sign off on the load. But I've been at the recycling MRF when they unloaded one of these trucks, and it's very high quality white, typically mostly white paper, because that's how people usually do their, you know, legal documents, and it's a pretty nice load, and they can capture it and bail it, so. Again, those are supported by the DEP. They want us to do them instead of having it, you know, just get lost in the drop off boxes at our site. And then the final note, we did a pilot food waste diversion program for the Harvest Fair. And I don't know if any of you guys went down, but it was, very well attended down at Greensfield. And we set up 3 food waste stations next to the trash stations at the fair. And there was a farmer's market and there were some food waste vendors like Hearth Pizza was there and some other ones. And it had an incredibly minimal participation. Like I out of the 3 containers probably got like 15 pounds of food. So it really wasn't productive, but it was interesting to see.
Was the farmer's market in its usual location on the
Yeah.
green or
Yeah.
over or Green's Field?
Greenfield. So it was right there and I went to the vendors and said, these are, these.
So
food
that's
waste
not its usual
containers.
location. It
It's
used to,
usually Gary Way, is that right?
yeah.
Okay.
So
well,
it
this was
used to be over there on Green's Field.
Yeah, well, they used to do the harvest fair up there too. But either way, so it wasn't a really successful event in terms of collecting food waste. It was interesting to see what happened. And mostly what I saw was that the recycling containers and very specifically the pizza box collection big belly units that we have were all maxed out. And what we need to do next year is increase the recycling and kind of the food waste is, very, very minimal loss if it goes into the trash. So that was just interesting to try and do that. We partnered, obviously with, DPW had some highway folks there, talked to them, but the sustainability manager was there on site talking to people about her various committees, but she helped me to run the food waste. And it was interesting. We talked to a lot of folks. So the informational side of it was really productive, but the collection was, negligible. But obviously, we know that we need to increase our recycling.
The only way,
efforts.
the only way it should be a disappointment, maybe people were just not throwing away their food. I mean, if they were throwing their food away in the trash,
It wasn't that much
then it
food, I
wasn't
think.
successful.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was, it's, right, maybe they were throwing away 100% of their food, they just didn't have a lot of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
Food waste.
monitored the trash collections pretty carefully. I didn't see much food waste. It just wasn't,
Yeah,
it's not that kind of event, so. But, it's, anytime you gather that kind of information, I think you get a useful information. And I mean, that's pretty much it since the last time we met.
I was thinking that we were, I was hoping to hear more about the survey and the
So the
consultants.
survey's done, we were having a change order process. So we haven't really talked to them because they thought they needed to, expand the scope a little bit and do a little more research, so. That's all been kind of being processed and we got that change order approved sometime last week and reached out to the consultant just to say we need to restart this.
Well, that's good news that you got to, fine tune the contract and buy a little more time.
Well, yeah, and we used the grant funding, the DEP money for grant funding, so, it's a good way to spend that money and push the project along. Again, I don't expect anything all that, radical out of this other than suggestions of ideas, because from the survey results, most people are happy with what they're doing. They're utilizing either the curbside and the RTS or the RTS. And the people who did want change indicated that they weren't really willing to pay for the changes. So I don't think we're gonna see a radical, the findings are, pretty much that people are satisfied with the level of service, or if they're not really willing to support tax increases to pay for that change. So,
Right, so I think the most important thing for us is, and for DPW, right, is how we publicize, those results, to get those,
yeah,
we see it unfortunately, we see a lot of things here in town, right? Where, the selectmen are getting hit up, right, for holding public processes that no one goes to. And then when it comes time to implement it, right, they're saying, oh, it wasn't a public process, right? So, and it's just because people weren't paying attention until it started really happening, and they didn't pay attention to what was going on the previous year, a year and a half. So, if we go up there and say, this is responding to, the community, but the community doesn't get that information, and all of a sudden they're going, oh, they're making all these changes, and, they didn't really ask us our opinion,
Yeah, I mean, we
So-
got 2,300 households. I know that's like, maybe 20%, right?
I think,
mean,
I don't think we have to, present the numbers, right, and highlight that. I think we have to highlight the fact that this was a public process. I know that there's some involved town meeting members when it first came out, when we were first discussing it, and it was public, they saw that, right?
Yeah.
And they recognized that, but that was just,
Well,
that was one of the more outspoken, people who focuses on what goes on in this committee, where, there's not, I wouldn't say that's a majority of people, who focus on this, only when it comes up to being, some news.
yeah,
So I just hope that they would get, the news around the whole process, and that gets really advertised.
right.
If they could do, a public somehow a public presentation, or we do some,
Yeah.
we get it online, everything now, right, all those, we can do, one of the presentations online and reflect that as one of if it becomes a warrant article, right? So I
I
think,
mean, it was a warrant article, it's funded through a warrant article, and it's just kind of moving now through grant money, but
right, so now there should be a response to, a report of that, how that money was spent, right? That. The select, that happens at a select board meeting, right? David, right, so. But now everything's getting electronically, so we can make it part of that, I just. I'd hate to have to go through such a beautiful process, public process, and come up with this, and have all this reinforced of what we believe, and then not get credit for it, and get, again, a minority, get reactionary. And I'm sorry, we don't have, we have some missing members, because I think, this is a committee responsibility of all members, to sort of get that out there. Of, what we do here.
Yeah.
So. Well. Anyone else have anything, any input around update and the next steps for this next report?
yeah, I'm just waiting to see what the consultant is gonna, provide us. They've kind of laid out how they're gonna go about it, then they asked for this.
Is there a deadline of, I mean,
The contract deadline is the 31st of December.
30, is there a deadline before this has to go before the select board for,
No, you have tentative dates, just in case they're done early. Tentative dates for meeting November 18th and November and December 9th.
yes. And those, and so they're tentative only if we get the report, okay. Alright, so if barring no other, items to discuss or any other questions. Is there any other business anyone wants to bring up? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. You're adjourned.